Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Daily Score. I'm Mark Grote, and we are talking about the Cubs after a dynamic, entertaining series in New York where the Cubs split and all sorts of wild things went on. The Cubs with another very eventful series at home this weekend against the rival Milwaukee Brewers, where the Cubs did take 2 out of 3 in the series, including a 5-0 win over the Brewers to close it out yesterday at Wrigley Field. And again, Javier Assad gave you what you needed for the most part. 6 shutout innings, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts. He did walk 3, 94 pitches. He did have traffic, but was able to weave in and out of that particular trouble. 2 on jam in the 4th inning. He managed to get out of that as well. So good things continue to be for Javier Assad, from whom we know Craig Counsell has asked a lot and needed a lot. Yency Almonte and Daniel Palencia were clean. And that's what we're looking for out of the bullpen, because if there is an issue for the 21-14 Cubs, it has been the bullpen breakdowns that have occurred. How about Christopher Morel lately? He's starting to hit home runs again, had another RBI hit yesterday. But the really encouraging thing about Morel, particularly yesterday, was the fact that Morel, he's a live bat, and he managed to walk 3 times in that game. So that was definitely encouraging to see. Dansby Swanson been struggling with the bat, with the glove this year. The glove part, very surprising, but he made a couple of really nice plays in the game yesterday. And he hit a home run in the 6th inning that made it 4-0 Cubs at the time. And the best part about it, it was at that very moment I happened to be watching the TV broadcast. Boog Shambi and Joe Girardi were just kind of going through all the struggles of Dansby Swanson and the sort of desperation of showing him old videos of when he was hitting well. And then in the midst of that, boom, home run for Dansby Swanson. I don't think you have to worry about him. Yes, he's going to struggle. He struggled at the end of last year. It's incumbent upon Craig Counsell to do what he did the other day, and that is to give this man a needed days off. Swanson wants to play every day. I think he showed last year. Unfortunately, Dansby Swanson, terrific. He's not built that way. He's not that guy that's going to play 162 games, and nobody really is. I mean, that's pretty magical if you could get to that point. And so Counsell's got to be good at that and not listen to the player. Sorry. Can't listen to Dansman, who was like, I need to play today. Nope. Sit his ass down and keep him fresh and keep him good. And he will be. So good day for Dansby Swanson. Nico Horner also had a 2-run double in the game as well. All of that through Cody Bellinger being out, Justin Steele, this is in no particular order, Kyle Hendricks, Seiya Suzuki, Julian Merriweather, who we don't mention enough because he's such a key volume guy and effective guy out of the bullpen. All of that, after this series, Cubs are tied for first place with the Brewers. The Cubs 21-14 and the Brewers 20-13. So that is super encouraging. A guy that I want to talk about is Jameson Taillon, and I have to tread lightly here because we know that there was some good for him last year, but then it kind of went bad, and we've just had this uneven keel with Jameson Taillon since he got here, including beginning this year on the injury list. But you got 6 strong innings from him again on Saturday against the Crew, if I may. You had a phenomenal 7 1/3 at the Mets. I think that was the last Wednesday game. Yeah, that was where the Mets had the Luis Severino no-hitter going. So Jameson Taillon kind of outshined in that moment, but if you could keep that guy on, and considering what's a coming, Cubs fans, tonight, the scheduled pitcher for the Cubs is Justin freaking Steele. So you get Steele back with Taillon, who's already effective. Who knows about Kyle Hendricks? If the rehab starts that he's had are going to be enough to plug him back into the rotation, I think he'll get back in. It's just a matter of whether or not he's going to be able to perform. But things are looking up injury-wise. Tonight, Justin Steele against Yu Darvish. So that ought to be a pretty fun game with the Padres here tonight against the Cubs. Couple other things. Jed Hoyer did one of his in-game television performances where he jumps in with Boog, and in this case, Joe Girardi. So I just jotted down a couple of things that he said that caught my eye. And he's right about this. He said that we have not been the defensive team that we need to be. Yeah, there's been a lot of fumbles, a lot of mental errors. Talked about Dansby Swanson and not looking like he did, bouncing a lot of balls over to first base. Being that he's been the best shortstop in the league over the last couple of years, I think he's going to get it together. So that's the good news about the defense. There's no other way to put it. The defense has not been good for the Cubs this year, but I believe it eventually will be. The other thing that caught my ear that Jed Hoyer said was something that I've been thinking and that you should be thinking too, that with all of the injuries that have occurred for the Cubs and being able to maintain second or first place throughout it all, and in the midst of it, you got experience for Pete Crow Armstrong, for Ben Brown, for Javier Assad. Hell, I know Matt Mervis still isn't changing anybody's opinions of him yet, but he got up. I mean, it's been valuable for all these guys, and they'll probably all make their way back down. Maybe not Ben Brown, but we'll see. I know PCA is going to go down as Susan Bellinger comes back, and that's all good with me. But you got to think about that it's really good that the depth of the Cubs, or if you look at it as the future of the Cubs, are all making their mark early in the season, and it's just a little bit of what is to come for the Cubs. So some really encouraging things. Still got to figure out who is the guy that is going to ultimately close games or be your pinnacle of high leverage. Like I said, Yency Almonte and Daniel Palencia clean yesterday. They had the run support and all of that. We know that you cannot use Alzolay until further notice in high leverage. You've got to figure it out, again, whether it is putting him in low leverage, phantom injury list, put him in there as an opener, long relief. You absolutely got to figure out what you're doing with Alzolay. I'm not ready to cut the guy by any means, but eventually this is not a year to experiment or develop. It is a year to get guys right. And I think that that's what it is incumbent upon the Cubs and Craig Counsell and Tommy Hotovy and Pitch Labs and everything to get that man right eventually. So hopefully that will be the case. I want to be able to say, just put Hector Neris in as your closer and be done with it. And he has been. I mean, I'm still not comfortable. I mean, it seems like every time he comes in, he's putting runners on and getting out of it. Gave up a run. I thought the Cubs were gonna blow it on Saturday. And again, Neris was walking the tightrope act, as was the bullpen. So that is something that still has to be worked out. Another thing that Jed Hoyer said, and it's true, things do take on a heightened sense of drama early in the season because we're all ready for the season. And so we're really intense about every single game. And it's what we do at the Score anyway. We're not going to lose that. But I do understand that, things have to play out a little bit early in the season. And that's what they have done for the 21 and 14 Chicago Cubs. Hey, a few other guys potentially in that high leverage spot, maybe Ben Brown. Carl Edwards Jr. really just has been terrific at Iowa. Hayden Wesneski, we saw what Hayden did the other day. What was that, on Saturday, I believe. It was Friday. He was just absolutely nasty in that game. So that's a potential. And then I don't know if I'm ready for Mark Leiter Jr. I think he might have closed a couple of times last year and it didn't go so well. But I mean, I love Mark Leiter. I don't know if he's the closer, but all options are on the table. The good news is that you have plenty of time to figure it out. You have options, you have ideas, and the options and ideas that I just laid out, there is more beyond that because the Cubs will have resources to play with, hopefully, as the season goes on and up to the trade deadline, when I think the Cubs will still be competing. That's going to be it for today. Thanks to everybody for listening and watching the Daily Score. Appreciate it. Hope you guys subscribe. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks for listening and watching wherever you get your podcast. And for Ray Diaz, I am Mark Grote. Have a great rest of your day.